World Series champ Jordan Montgomery will make his Diamondbacks debut Friday night in San Francisco. The opposing starter is Blake Snell, who's looking for his first win in a Giants uniform. Montgomery, a key piece in the Rangers' run to the World Series title last year, now pitching for the team they beat in the Fall Classic. Now, neither Snell nor Montgomery got the contract they were looking for in the offseason. Scott Boras did not deliver for his clients. Snell signed a 2-year deal while Monty signed a 1-year contract. And Montgomery just fired Scott Boras last week. Friday night, Snell and Montgomery pitching against each other in San Francisco. Back here with former MLB Executive of the Year and CBS Sports Baseball insider Jim Bowden here to set the table for a big night in baseball on Friday. Jordan Montgomery versus Blake Snell. Jim, what will you be watching for?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be wondering if Jordan Montgomery can possibly be ready to pitch in a major league game. He got hit hard in his rehab starts in the minor leagues, and I'm just kind of confused and don't understand why they're rushing him to the mound this quick. As you just saw in the graphic, it was March 28th that he signed, so 21 days later, we're going to put him on the mound in a big league game after 3 weeks of quote-unquote spring training. I mean, look, there's a reason why we have 6 weeks of spring training. It's not for the hitters. It's for the pitchers. That's how long it takes them to get ready, stretched out, and be able to perform at their accustomed level on opening day. That's the only reason spring training is so long. So I'm really confused on why they're rushing him like they are. He's coming off a great year, as you mentioned, with the Rangers and Cardinals last year, 10-11 with a 3.2 ERA. He knows how to pitch. He'll add, he'll subtract, he'll keep them in games. I'm just worried about it. On the other side, he's facing Blake Snell, who won the Cy Young Award last year with San Diego, while leading the league in ERA. He led the league in walks. Well, he had 19 days to get ready from the day that he signed on March 19th, as you can see on the graphic. So what happened with Snell in his first start? 3 innings, 3 hits, 3 runs. What happened on his second start? It was 4 innings, 6 hits, 7 runs. He's been whacked. Why? Because he wasn't ready. So, look, this matchup's intriguing. I think both of these pitchers are pitching for their next contract this offseason. Jordan Montgomery with now Wasserman representing him. So this is going to be fascinating to see how this plays out this year, because both of these guys thought they were getting long-term deals, and now it looks like both of them will use their opt-out clauses, will walk back in free agency. So every start for them is going to be important. But, Hakeem, I just got to tell you, I don't understand why they're rushing them back as quickly as they are, and I think they're going to pay a price in the run column.
We'll see about it. We'll see what happens, because you're right. It's one of those things where you rush a guy out too soon and could jeopardize an injury, could end up being a terrible start. One pitcher who did get paid in the offseason, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, 12 years, $325 million. Mets offered him the same deal, but he chose to sign with the Dodgers. Friday night, the Mets faced the guy who turned them down. New York comes in hot. They're 10-3 since an 0-5 start. LA's lost 5 of 7. And, Jim, you know the Mets want to chase Yamamoto early on Friday night.
Yeah, and look, and Yoshi, and by the way, Brandon Gobes, the GM of the Dodgers, has given me permission to call Yamamoto Yoshi. So he's Yoshi from now on for me. You know, it's interesting because what the Mets did for Yoshi was get him the $325 million contract. The Dodgers had not offered that kind of money. It was Steve Cohen, the owner of the Mets, that offered him the $325. And because Yamamoto grew up a Dodger fan and because Shohei Ohtani was there, they went back to the Dodgers and said, if you match it, you got us. And they matched it. So I think he's going to come in being appreciative. But, yeah, of course, the Mets want to beat him. The only reason Yamamoto didn't sign with them, as I said before, is he wanted to play with Ohtani. He wanted to be a Dodger. Yamamoto's first start wasn't good, as we all know, in Seoul, South Korea with the Padres. When he went 1 inning, 4 hits, 5 runs, was knocked out. But he's been really good since then, right? The start against St. Louis on March 30th, there was 5 innings of 2-hit shutout ball. He backed that up with the start against the Cubs, 5 innings, 3 hits, 8 punch-outs, no runs. And his last start, his second one against San Diego, 5 innings, 3 runs, 6 Ks, looked good. He's figuring it out. He's starting to throw the split finger for strikes. He mixes his pitches. He adds, subtracts. He goes north, south, east, west. He is an absolute thrill to watch, and I think he's only going to get better every start. What is interesting, though, is they are giving him 6 days off, at least so far, in between every single start, something he was used to in Japan. And he seems like he's getting used to the different size baseball here in the States. That's kind of what we've noticed with the splitter over the last 2 or 3 starts. So look forward to seeing this next start. But I've been impressed, especially the last 3 starts.
Meantime, the Mets are still paying half of Justin Verlander's contract. He makes his season debut Friday night against the Nationals. Astros are off to a 6-14 start, one of the worst starts in franchise history. Houston also has the worst team ERA in the American League, and you can't count on Verlander to fix all the problems, especially at 41 years old. But, Jim, what does this mean to get Verlander back in the mix?
I don't know. Let's watch him pitch, and maybe I can answer it, because he made 2 starts in the minor leagues on rehab, one at AA, one at AAA, and his combined line was 7 innings, 14 hits, 13 runs, 2 walks, and 9 strikeouts. Now, just before I came on with you, I texted Dana Brown, the general manager of the Astros, and I said, please tell me the stuff was better than the box scores, please. And he said, yes, the stuff was legit. It was mostly in the 92 to 96 range. The breaking ball and changeups both look good. So he told me the stuff was better than the results, but you've got to be concerned. And then for the Astros, Hakeem, as you brought up with their ERA, in particular, the big problem's been the bullpen. Their bullpen is 25th in baseball out of the 30 teams in team ERA, and their back end has blown 5 out of 6 saves. And really, when you look at it, they're trying to change Josh Hader. They're having him throw more secondary pitches and fastballs. I don't know why. And then you moved Ryan Presley from the 9th inning to the 8th inning. He's having a tough time adjusting to that. And then your bridge between your starters who aren't going deep and the big 3 relievers in the back end, they're missing Maton and Stanek, who both left. They don't have enough talent in the middle. So GM Dana Brown has his work cut out for him. They're going to have to improve this bullpen to bounce back in it. And they also have a couple of offensive problems on the infield corners, right? Jose Abreu looks like he's done. He's hitting .078 with no homers and 1 RBI. Yeah. He looks like he's 52 years old. Jonathan Singleton, when they play him, he's got no homers and 4 and no RBIs. And then Alex Bregman at third base, who's going to be a free agent, no homers and 4 RBIs. So it's not just the pitching. They're going to have to fix the corner infield spots as well. I think Bregman will get going. I'm not sure Abreu will.
Jim, what would you do in this scenario as a former GM, and with respect to what Dana Brown has assembled with this roster? What would you do now, considering the results with Ryan Presley and Josh Hader? Would you go in and bring both guys into your office and say, hey, you know, this hasn't been working, maybe we switch here? Is that ever a conversation worth having?
Not yet. At some point, if they don't get it going. But as a former GM, what I would be doing at this point is I would be getting with my analytic and pitching room and Hader and say, look, we gave him this 5-year deal because this is how he pitches, and we're not going to try to change things and try to get cute here and try to get tricky and try to find a better way. All we want is the guy that we saw pitch last year for San Diego, and I want the pitch sequencing to be similar to that. So that's how I'm going to handle Hader. With Presley, it's a conversation saying, look, I know you're not used to that 8th inning. Let's just treat it like the 9th. We know you'll get going. We believe in you. Presley's a free agent at season's end. He's pitching for a contract. I'm really not worried about those 2. They'll get them going. I'm not worried about Abreu. My concern is that the starters don't go deep. And look, Christian Javier has been great. He's going to be a comeback player of the year candidate. But you got to figure out, if you're Dana Brown, the GM, you better start concentrating on how you're going to fix innings 5, 6, and maybe add another guy for the 7th, because you're missing Hector Neris, you're missing Maton, you're missing Stanek, and you did not replace them appropriately. And in this day and age, you better have a deep bullpen. So I expect, if I was sitting there in Dana Brown, I would be calling the teams I know are going nowhere. The Marlins, the Nationals, the Rockies, the Athletics. And I'm going to do everything I can to try to build up that bullpen via trade. Now, I'm not going to wait till June or July. That may be too late with the kind of start they've had.
Maybe they can get a deal done for Mason Miller from Oakland, who throws 1,000 miles an hour. That kid's filthy. I can't wait to talk to you about him.
7 straight pitches the other night. Unbelievable.
That kid is filthy. Filthy. Big weekend series in Kansas City. The reigning AL East champion Orioles visiting the on-the-rise Royals. Saturday, we get a match between AL Cy Young candidates Corbin Burnes against Cole Reagans. Jim, what are you looking forward to most when these clubs clash in KC?
Yeah, these 2 pitchers, because they may end up 1-2 in the Cy Young, right? I think Burnes is the heavy favorite in Vegas and should be, but don't ever count out Cole Reagans and the stuff he's got. Can you imagine last June, GM JJ Piccolo of the Royals got Reagans straight up for Aroldis Chapman. Are you kidding me? Now he's got his ace. He is so impressive. So, yeah, I can't wait to watch this. Look, from the Kansas City perspective, Bobby Witt Jr. right now is a top 3 player in baseball. There's nothing he can't do on the baseball field. He got the long contract, and he is certainly living up to it. Really, really fun to watch. And on the other side, I mean, look, the Baltimore Orioles are the most fun team in baseball, in my opinion, to watch. That lineup 1-9 is so great that you've got 2 or 3 guys in the minor leagues that are better than 2 or 3 guys that are starting for them in the big leagues. And they're just waiting for their time, like Kobe Mayer and Heston Kjerstad. But when you talk about Gunnar Henderson and Adley Rutschman and Colton Cowser, who's the most underrated left fielder in baseball right now, Cedric Mullins, who looks like he's going to bounce back and be the 30-homer, 30-steal guy he was a few years ago. This lineup is so exciting. Adley Rutschman's the best catcher overall in baseball right now, in my opinion. Can't wait to watch this pitching matchup, though. Reagans and Burns, it's going to be exciting. Royals have had a great start to the season. And look, we knew they'd be more competitive when they went out and got Michael Wacha and Seth Lugo to join Reagans in the bullpen. Brady Singer's developed, so they're in games. But I think what surprises us the most, and I talked to Matt Quartero, the manager of the Royals, on Sunday on my radio show, and he said the biggest surprise to him has been the offense, that they have had a very consistent offense to start the year. And if they can get run support for these pitchers, they may hover around 500 most of the year, which to me would be a huge improvement from a year ago.
Royals have hit 23 home runs. That's top 10 in baseball, chasing the Orioles, who lead all of baseball with 30 long balls thus far in a big weekend series there in Kansas City. Jim Bowden break it down for us here on CBS Sports HQ. Jim, thank you.
There is a speed bump on the front. There is a speed bump on the front.